I love when coaches, consultants, and professional service providers want to do big things in their business. They want to rise to the top and influence their market and the world around them. They want to have a greater impact and make a more lucrative income. Well, if this is you, welcome to Expert in You podcast, the show where I interview other experts and coaches, consultants, so that they can share their success strategies with you. We're going to talk about marketing and how to close more sales, how to get more premium clients, and how to really build your visibility in the market and scale your business like a boss. If this is you, welcome to the show. I want to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell right now so you don't miss one episode. Grab your coffee and buckle up because we are ready to give it all to you to help you become the expert and get paid as the expert that you are. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Expert in You podcast. I'm your host, Carden. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited for my guest today. He is amazing with what he does in his business. He's a business consultant, coach, mentor for CPAs, accounting firms, people that have practices and firms. And we are going to dive into his expertise and how he can help people that have accounting practices and firms grow to high profits and love their business, actually working 40 hours a week or less. Oh my gosh, I love this. So Paul Roy, welcome to my show.
Oh, Anne, it's so wonderful to be with you. Your high energy is infectious, so thank you.
Got to keep that energy up. So yeah. I'm so excited. Okay, so here's a little backstory. Paul and I have known each other for many years. I don't even know how many years, maybe.
I think it's 7 or 8 years.
Oh, is that all? I thought it was more like 13. I kind of met Paul when I first came into the coaching and consulting space. Sure. We were in a company, in an organization together, and we have just remained friends and have done some work together. And I just think the world of him. He is just amazing at what he does. And he's just such a great person. So Paul, we're going to just dive into how you got into working with accountants and CPAs, people that have practices and firms, sort of in the accounting world, because I know you've coached a lot of different kinds of businesses through the years, but you've landed on this and you even have a really cool program and sort of method called Profitable Practice Pro. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more. But Paul, how did you kind of land in this world?
And from a coaching perspective, because I'd lost a business due to consolidation in an industry and had rebuilt myself and built other businesses and helped other businesses survive. And whenever somebody was struggling, they would say, well, just give Paul Roy a call. He's done it. He can help you out of it. So it just sort of, people started arriving on my doorstep. And I said, oh, this kind of feels good. And so I was doing it as a sidekick for a while. And then it was it's actually 9 years ago, would have been, Ann, that we met, that I stepped aside and said, I'm going to do this full time. I'd owned an office products business, a printing business, a yachting facility. An entrepreneur at heart. And I knew the struggles of entrepreneurs and wanted to be able to help them. And I felt that because I had lived in their shoes, that I could help them.
I love it. So now you really have kind of dialed in working with CPAs and accountants, and you've been doing that for a long time, helping them build more profitable practices and run really smoother businesses and really get their life back. Working less than 40 hours, because a typical accountant or CPA works 70, 80, 90 hours.
If you're with one of the big firms and you want to grow to be a partner, yes, those are the hours. Even mid-sized firms under contract, minimum 45 hours a week, right in their contract. That's how hard you work. So, and what happens is, and this is where it got me, is that accountants who are technicians working in the big firms and in the systems were saying, hold it, I'm only getting 55 dollars for all the work that I do. I'm going to go out and do it for myself. And then they land in business as technicians, not as business people.
Yes.
Enter Paul. So then, that's one of the first questions I ask them. Do you want to be an accountant or do you want to be a business owner?
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, they say, yeah, I want to only do a little bit of accounting with some of my favorite clients. And I love to hear that. Oh, who are they? Who are your favorite clients? Why do
Yeah.
you like them? So so then and so it gets into that. So it's, so, and often, that we hear this, the 80/20 rule, and it exists in accounting practices too. These accountants are making 80% of their money from 20% of their clients.
Yes. And they don't
And
realize it.
and they don't realize it.
Yes.
And so how do we get them to go, oh my goodness, who is my ideal client? And then how much should I charge them? So then we go down that road of establishing that profitability
Hmm.
and giving them the confidence that what they bill, that they truly earn. And then through that process, that when they understand that the value they deliver, and it's through a lot of poking and prodding, they don't know that.
Hmm.
We have to poke and good it is, what is it? Why are you special? Why should I pay you this
Right.
amount of money? So and then so it's giving them confidence that they have the ability to go and seek and help their better clients and seek more of them.
Yes.
So
One of
that,
the
that whole profitability piece is tied to ideal clients and of course your pricing structure,
Mhm.
putting good offers together to your clients.
Yes. One of the things you talked about is they're doing the work for somebody else. They're working hard. They're only making a portion of what they could be making. And so they think, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do this on my own. But what typically happens is they stay overworked and underpaid. They end up with a job that's probably twice the job they ever wanted or ever would have worked. And they don't know how to get out of that model. And one of the things that you do is show them how to quickly get out of that model of being, like you said, being the tactician and becoming a business owner, becoming a CEO in their company. And the best business, look, I still love to coach my clients. I love it. It lights me up. It's so important to me. But I still am a CEO of my company. I don't get so inundated in coaching clients that I can't work on the growth of my business, manage my team. I'm still a business owner and I'm still a CEO of my business. And until you start putting on that hat, you stay stuck in the grind and you will never get out of that. You'll never get off that hamster wheel if you don't think differently.
And one of the toughest parts in getting accountants to actually go, okay, I'm going to take the leap, is that I'm already worked to death. Where am I going to find the time to make the changes?
So this is where, yeah. So you know what? Let's hold that thought. I want to dive right into your program. So you work basically your Profitable Practice Pro program and coaching,
Yep.
mentoring, what consulting, whatever you want to call it. It is around 3 P's. It's around profitability,
Ability,
it's around processes,
processes,
and
and
it's around people. So now
people.
you've got to build out a team if you're going to scale this and make more money and work less, right?
Yep.
So let's dive into each of those.
Sure. Yeah.
So tell me, let's walk through the profitability piece. What are the things that you do with your clients to help them be more profitable right out of the gate?
Is to, first of all, identify who their ideal clients are. And many accountants know them as A, B, C, and D clients. And, and they can name their A clients just clunk, clunk, clunk.
Mhm.
And why do you like working with them? And then that's a way for me to extract, oh, this is the value you bring. You enjoy working with them.
Mhm.
So to getting to that part is all of these lower clients, you need to either increase their rates or get rid of them so
Mhm.
that you have the room to bring on the new people. And the new people will come through referrals from helping them get their A game clients in there. So
Yeah.
that, so attracting the ideal client will increase your revenue.
Mhm.
We're going to restructure their pricing. So again, as I mentioned earlier, that the value that they bring, we're going to take them away from by the hour billing. Because by the hour billing means that the client is measuring you to go, well, what did you do in that hour? No, no,
Right.
no. This is what you get when you
Oh, it's the
do
worst business model ever.
the worst business model ever. And so we restructure the pricing
Mhm.
to do that at the various levels of their business. And it may be that, oh my goodness, we have an unprofitable portion. Maybe we shouldn't be doing bookkeeping, or maybe we shouldn't be doing payroll and we should outsource.
Mhm.
So that all comes into the profitability piece.
Mhm.
And then through this, the other thing that happens is, and I jumped a bit ahead from this, but it increases the retention of your clients because of the value that you bring.
Right.
And those clients that you've retained then become part of your sales team, and they tell their business owner friends that you need to talk to Paul Roy.
And
So that's kind of the big picture. There's lots of moving parts in
of
there, but
course.
at a high level, those are kind of the three steps, the three buckets.
Okay, so helping them implement a system to get more of their favorite top tier
Right.
clients,
Yes.
restructure their pricing so that they are getting paid what they deserve. And also, I think you and I discussed before we got on here, doing it with confidence. A lot of times you're seeing them not actually send the whole bill because they're like, oh my gosh, this client's going to freak out when they see this bill. And so you help them really alleviate all of that.
Write downs are like a rotten cold in a business. Oh,
Yes.
the client will be upset if I send them this bill. Oh. So we help with the things with write downs, and also included in profitability, a small piece that's in this profitability piece of that bucket is work in progress. And if
Mm-hmm.
you've got 80% of a file done and you can't get the last 20% done, all those hours dumped into that 80% of the bill, well, you haven't billed the client yet.
Right.
And that's called the WIP, the work in progress. So we put that in, and we're going to talk perhaps systems a little bit later, but
Mm-hmm.
those are the things we put in place to ensure those billings get out quickly and accurately and for a fair price.
Yes. And one of the things too that you do that I think makes you very unique from a lot of other people that are working with accountants and CPAs and their practices is you actually, because your background is business and business coaching and you've worked in multiple industries, you actually coach them on how to coach their clients to be more profitable. I will tell you, most accountants, they don't have the skill set that they really understand how to build businesses because there's a lot of moving parts to build a business, but you help them coach them to coach their clients to be more profitable. So you're teaching them too to help their clients, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the joy of this is, is to see them released from the chains of being a
Mm-hmm.
technician / business owner.
Yes. Yes. And so that's sort of the profitability
Yeah.
piece you start them off with. And then you help them with the processes. So you help them fix their time and to get down to 40 hours a week or less working, but while still growing. And that's the key, because in their mind, they're thinking, I can't still grow if I work less. And you help them fix that, right?
Exactly. And if it's measurable and it's slow and consistent and racing up to something, there's always going to be holes in it. So if it's measured this step, this step, this step, and where the system piece is important of this, and we're going to talk to people a little bit later, is that when you understand what you want to build, you
Mm-hmm.
know at what parts of the growth that you're going to need a senior accountant or you're going to need
Yes.
another CPA. So you already know in that evolution of your growth, instead of making the decision when you're overwhelmed and getting into that boom bust,
Mm-hmm.
I need another accountant because I'm overworked. So that planning process, putting those systems in place for onboarding clients and onboarding staff and what points are going to come from, that's the deal.
Yes, and we know that is what really gives owners freedom is putting systems and processes in place. In your case, you call them processes. That is what really helps them get their time back. And one of the big mistakes I see business owners make, I know you have too, is they think I don't have time to put in the processes and systems. And though it may take you a little time on the front end, it will save you hours and hours and hours a week, a month, a year to get those things in place. So it's a little bit of pain, really, for a whole lot of enjoyment.
If we can use the analogy of compound interest, once it gets
Mhm.
going, it starts to go and it builds and it builds.
Yes.
And so for a basic, simple analogy, investing that small amount of time in the front end systematically
Mhm.
will produce the juicy stuff down the pipe.
I love it. I love it. So the first piece was the profitability. The second piece was the processes. The
Yep.
other, so you help them build the systems, fix their time. This is their schedule, everything that they're doing. And then the third bucket or piece of your program is you really help them build a team. And this is where they can take their business to whatever levels they want, working less. And again, the best business is to get to work what you actually love to do in your business as much as you want to do it, but you're not chained to that. You're not tied to that. And so you're helping them still be able to do something if they love it, if they still love pushing the pencil and doing the, that kind of work, but they still have to run their company and they don't want to be chained to that. They shouldn't be dependent on them.
And at a simplified level, what I love to do, it's the difference between choose to and have to.
Absolutely. Perfectly said. Yes.
So
Yes.
that's the thing. I'm here because I choose to. If I love to work, that's fine.
Yes.
But that's so the people is important. And I'm also a certified life coach. So I mean, I don't mind getting into the sticky, gooey stuff
Mhm.
and asking the hard questions because it's from the hard questions come the right answers.
Mhm.
And we talked about the procrastinating. I can just put this off another month. Well, if we put it off another month, this is what happens. And what is the real reason for that? But putting the right people in place, I've got a system that I have that we do assessments if the firm owner wants to find out what their preferences, decision-making preferences are, their leadership style is. And once they know these things, they can go, oh, well, I need help in this. I need to
Mhm.
hire my next person who's going to do the things that I really don't like to do that much, but is going to build out around the firm more.
Mhm.
So we do these a firm assessment, a profile of the firm. This
Mhm.
is what the firm looks like from um, a holistic piece. This is who we
Mhm.
are. And then who are the people that we're bringing in who are going to fit this team?
Mhm.
So we do that assessment piece. And it's not just because accountants are technicians, as you know, and they're very skills based. But you can have a person with all the skills in the world who just goes in their office and closes the door.
Mhm.
And you don't know what's going on in there. And occasionally you'll see their work come out. So having a fit, just like your own clients, it's important to have the right fit of the person coming in who's going to
Yes.
complement the firm, who wants to be part of it and wants you to help them on that growth journey.
Yeah. And here's the other thing that I really want to talk about. The world has changed, business has changed. We now have the virtual world. These accountants and practice owners can be building their business all over the world. And a lot of them are not doing that. They're not leveraging the resources and the tools. They're still staying stuck in the old way of doing things, the old model, I had an accountant like that. I just want you to know, and he wrecked his health. He eventually passed away, which is such a sad story, but that is more real than people think. You can't continue. Again, do you want a business or do you want a job? And the problem with an accounting practice where the accountant is doing, for the most part, all of the work and everything's dependent around them and they're the bottleneck in the business, they eventually burn out, wreck their health, lose their family. There are multiple things that happen as a result of them not changing the way that they're doing business and stepping into how business should be done and can be done today. Do you agree with that?
I completely agree. And I see it in prospective firms and firms that I've worked with who are, promoting their accounting practices across Canada and the US. And they're
Mm-hmm.
growing like crazy because they have built a system
Yes.
that brings in their ideal clients. They have
Mm-hmm.
a system that brings in their ideal staff as they grow.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go national when you do that.
Yes.
There's nothing keeping you in your small town or in the suburb of your city. You can
Yeah.
go national with virtual.
I don't know these numbers to be a fact, but for accountants and CPAs in particular, but I would assume that they would be pretty comparable. One of the things that I talk about with coaches, consultants, professional entrepreneurs is that if they get out of their local market and they start learning to build a national or a global business, they will make on average 35 to 50% more. That is significant. That's significant. Why? Because you're opening up the whole world. And when you learn how to market to them, you can pull in the best clients. You can pull in those top tier clients.
Yeah, I did actually, if I can just share, because when I was vice president of a call center, which was a regional call center, and had made the decision with the owner that we're going to go national.
Mm-hmm.
And within 2 years, 70% of our business was elsewhere in
Yes.
North America, outside of Atlantic Canada,
Mm-hmm.
by going national. And the firm just went, pachoom.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if growth is, if you want growth,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to think national,
Well,
regional at least.
I know that in my own business, had I not done that years and years ago, I would probably still be hovering around that 6-figure mark in my business, because and I was exhausted running around, networking, getting referrals. I was exhausted. When I went national and global, it opened up my business to like literally 20 times what I had been making. So it's such a lucrative way to build. But yet there are a lot of accountants and practices that aren't doing that, or even if they are, they're kind of stuck in the weeds and they haven't figured out how to really make that work yet.
Yeah, they're afraid to step out of that comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the simplest way to do it. I'll just keep doing what I know, and it
Yeah.
feeds the bill, and somebody will come along and buy my practice at 1.1 times gross revenue.
Right.
Well, good luck with that.
Have fun on that hamster wheel.
You got it. You know,
Yes.
they don't want to buy your problems.
And here's the thing. I know, Paul, you have the same heart I do. I'm not just in this because I want to make money. I literally want to change people's lives through their businesses, because I know business can create wealth. It can change your lifestyle. It can impact other people. There are so many benefits to being in business. And I believe if you've been called to be an owner or an entrepreneur, you've been called to bigger things. And so I'm on this mission, and I know you are too. We're going to change the small businesses, right?
Yeah, my biggest payday this week was a client who went away 4 months ago, who came back to me 2 weeks ago. And he
Yes.
thanked me this morning. No amount of money fulfills what I'm doing to help them and to fuel me to keep doing what I do.
Absolutely. We have a heart for this.
Yeah,
And the great thing is we get to make really good money doing it too. Let's not, we're in business, right? So that's an
yeah,
important piece. And this is exactly what you want to help them do. They have a heart to help
exactly.
people. They love what they do. They're great at what they do, but you want to help them be profitable, work less, have more of a life, build a life around their business versus build their business around their life.
Life.
Versus their life around their business, which is what most of them are doing. They're building their life around their business. And hey, I've been guilty of doing that in the past. I know you have been as well. We had to learn a different way. And Paul, I just absolutely love what you are doing here. And I think this is going to change so many people's lives. I know you're already doing that, but I know that you personally are getting ready to ramp this thing up in your business and
Well,
take
it's
this to
time
new
for
levels.
for my business to get to the next level and to
Yes.
get in front of more small firm accounting owners and help them change their lives and forever.
Yes, absolutely. And then have something that they can exit and sell. I've sold businesses, and I know that that is also a wealth builder. So getting people to that point is phenomenal. And that's such a big piece of what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. What else would you like to say that we haven't covered in your program, in what you do? We've talked about a lot of the pain points of accountants and you, let's talk about who you work with. So you can work with bigger firms in these same areas and these same buckets. And you've worked with big firms.
Yeah. I've worked with larger firms. It can be a bit more challenging, if I can share this, because with the larger firms who may have 2 or 3 partners, even though there would be a managing partner, decisions then come by committee. So it takes a little longer. Who's going to take ownership of making the changes? So there's a lot more of my time managing the relationships within the business and holding them to task to do their homework to move forward. And that's enjoyable, but it's hard work. But again, rewarding. But for me, it's that 5 employee to 20 employee that is pretty much one owner, possibly 2 owners, people who have, and you mentioned earlier, got to have that, you got to make that decision. You got to move forward. You don't want to sit and procrastinate on needing to make this decision for months. So working with them, because they own it themselves.
Yes.
And so they're my ideal people, and it's everybody works at a different pace, but it's on my shoulders to see them get results, in 60 days where they go, okay, I see it now, I get it now. This isn't going to happen in 1 meeting or 2 meetings. All we're going to do is clarify where you're headed, what do you want to build? That's the beginning process. So it often can be 2nd, 3rd, 4th meeting to actually start implementing the changes that you wanted to make.
Right. It takes a little while.
It's making that investment time commitment to go, you know what, I've got to give this 6 months. And often 6 months comes and they say, let's keep going, Paul.
Let's keep going. That's right. Yes. Yeah, because transformation doesn't happen overnight. And you're like me, there are so many things I can keep teaching my clients to help them continue to grow, continue to scale. You're the same way. But if they don't get the foundation in place, which is what you help them do here, they're not set up for growth. They're not set up for what they could accomplish in their business. They can't reach their full potential without these foundational pieces in place.
As much as accountants like numbers and dashboards, we don't start out with the dashboard. We start out with where you want to be and what we're going to build. And then we can create your own dashboard to measure your success and where you're going. So that's the co-creation piece after we realize where you are.
Yes, I love it. So Paul, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, they can get a hold of me. I'm quite visible on LinkedIn.
Yes, you are.
And also through paul@paulroy.ca. Yes, I'm Canadian, but the bulk of my business I do in the United States. Accountants are the same here as they are in the US. You're still business owners. So
numbers are numbers.
Yeah. And I'm a Canadian, but I don't put a lot of I'm sorry's in my language.
Or A?
Or A, yes. But Paul@PaulRoy, or find me at Paul Roy on LinkedIn. I should be very visible. So
we'll put all your links in the show notes as well, and people will be able to reach out to you. And listen, maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're not in an accounting practice, or you're not a CPA, and you think, oh, this isn't for me. But I want you to know that every one of my shows, we're talking business, marketing, and sales, and scalability, and people. It's all the same. It does not matter what kind of business you're in. So if you know someone who is in an accounting practice where they're overworked, they're exhausted, you can't ever get your stuff done from them, or maybe it's your own accountant, refer them to Paul. They need to know that there is help out there to get them off the hamster wheel and help them build a really lucrative business that they will be able to exit someday. And again, impact more people and have a business they love and have a life they love. And that, again, ultimately is why we do this. We want to help people create that. So refer them to Paul. Make sure they get this information. Yes, 100%. So, all right, Paul, this has been so much fun. I cannot thank you enough for being my guest on Expert in You. And everyone, until next week, go rock your business. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you've enjoyed this show, then I want to invite you to check out a free automated webinar where I show you how you can bring in ultra high fee clients for $25,000 to $125,000 or even more. I show you how you can do this maybe even in the next 7 to 60 days. So if you want to check out that free webinar, just go to expertinyouaccelerator.com and I'll see you on the inside. You have an amazing day, and until next time, God bless you. Go rock your business.